Yeah.
Just ask my patron.
We're live. Hey, folks. Welcome back to the Wildlands campaign. It has been an adventure getting here, but you are now in a very unusual town. This illustration by Sir Inkman on DeviantArt. The town is looks like a normal humanoid town of the wildlands. Very limited walls and defenses, but it's just down the road from a imposing fortress to the northwest. And however, what's unusual is that it seems that goblins have taken the place over. You've heard that it happened about a year ago. Some goblins took over. Can you all hear me other than Kate?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. She is having issues connecting to Discord. But I'll keep doing the recap for now. The you had some discussion about what to do. You have the large wyvern eggs stashed in the woods, being watched over by Vapos, your Water Ganassi monk, and you have taken rooms in the cheap upper rooms of the Stablehand Blackhoof pub, as there is an extensive imperial post office left over from well over a century ago, from the last empire to rule most of the wildlands. But they keep this up, and there are letter carriers riding to and fro, coming in and out along the many roads that lead from Fuerwald. You have found the culture of the town to be a quite unusual mixture of normal humanoids going about their business, but being deferential in some extreme kinds of ways to the goblins that march around, get carried. Can you guys hear the ravens going absolutely nuts outside?
Yes.
I legitimately thought that was a sound effect you had added.
Nope, it's just nature. It's just some real nature is happening out there. Or I guess the ravens are fighting over our tree or something. They're big, they're like this tall, like they're these huge black ravens. And our daughter is extremely angry at them because they don't say caw caw, which is what the crows say. She wants them to say caw caw, but she always is yelling at them why are you saying bob bob? To her ears, the ravens are saying bob bob instead of caw caw, and she's really mad about it.
It's like nature's giving her a real unkindness.
They're smart enough to might figure it out.
You murdered that
And
joke.
just call out right now.
What was that, Em? Sorry.
I said they're smart enough that they might figure out what she wants and do it for her anyways.
Yeah, that's true. They are hanging around. Okay, so with that sound effect, where was I? You took rooms, and you were led upstairs. You met the goblin proprietor of the Blackhoof pub, who agreed to give you guys these rooms. It's not an inn. Your beds are bales of hay with blankets thrown over them. And the whole place smells like horse and unmucked out stables. So it's definitely not the finest place you've stayed in. But you chose not to head for some of your other options. In any case, you were shown up to your rooms by a half-elf who was subservient to the goblin with a giant mustache, half of which had been cut off, who runs the place now. And he acted rather interestingly, took an interest in you guys, and told you, where you could wash up after your bloody and muddy journey. And, oh boy, we've just completely lost Bella now, haven't we? Okay. Looks like Bella's having technical issues. But she says to go on without her. So Bella, I hope, can rejoin later. Where was I? So, you, in the middle of the night, you are all awakened by an explosion coming from the western side of town, as Vapos can see from his vantage point to the south, as Vapos is sleeping outside of town at the moment, watched over by the 6 orange eyes. Of the gray render that imprinted on the eggs you've been carting around. So, it's quite a busy night. You hear people shouting that there's a vortex in the well. How would each of your characters react? We can go from left to right on roll 20. How does Bref react?
I jump out of my haystack, grab my sword, and begin making my way towards the well before realizing I don't know where the well is. That's not going to stop me, though.
Okay. Bref goes storming down toward the pub. Akiri?
Akiri has an idea of what's about to happen, and she really just wants to roll back over in bed and hope it's a bad dream.
Okay.
But she's awake, so she's gonna go downstairs, rubbing her eyes blearily.
Okay. How does Maver react?
I start awake and look around, noticing that Bref and Akiri are not there or are just heading out and follow.
Okay. And how does Bliss react?
How late is it again?
It's the middle of the night. You don't have a pocket watch.
Okay, no, I was trying to figure out if Bliss would be in bed or if he'd be up partying. If it sounds like he'd probably already be in bed. So
Chances are good.
yeah. Bliss has a similar reaction to Akira. He kind of hears the noise, wakes up, has an idea of what's going on, and just freaking swears in Infernal. Probably accidentally summons an imp or something from all the curses he utters in Infernal.
Mm-hmm.
And then gets out of bed, grabs his tambourine and his sword, and just slips on his leather armor and heads downstairs.
Guys, you have rarely seen Bliss like this. He is doesn't have his makeup on, and all of you were covered in blood and mud from the journey and the battles. But normally when you get to town, you're able to wash up, but you couldn't do all that much washing, except in like an old horse trough. So you've rarely seen Bliss like this.
He still looked drop dead gorgeous.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Been lying in bed and covered in mud and blood, but still drop dead gorgeous.
Of course.
He wears it well.
Of course. And Vapos, how does Vapos react to this happening?
So I can hear people shouting that there's a vortex in the well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Vapos is going to think about all of the collateral damage that the numerous cones of cold did in the previous two fights that we've had that involved vortex in water. And Vapos is going to activate the Visage of the Elemental Self which will basically his head becomes the head of a water elemental. And one of the things that allows him to do is it allows him to amplify his voice to where anything that's within 600 feet can hear him.
What?
And so Vapos is going to shout, using that, "The town is under attack. Stay inside."
So he shouts that like across the town as far as his voice will carry?
As far as my voice will carry, as I'm running towards where the other shouts are coming from.
That's pretty far. Okay.
Yeah, this could cause some problems, but Vapos is in crisis mode.
Mostly, guys, you would not be able to put on your armor, as armor takes a few minutes to strap on. However, there are people in the streets. Some may listen to Vapos. Vapos, go ahead and make a charisma check for me.
Sure, it's not going to go well. Yeah, that's 7.
For whatever reason, people aren't listening to the loud shout of a dude with a water elemental head who comes charging from outside of town.
Yeah, the way I imagine it is that it's like my voice carries the same way that sound carries underwater, and so my voice probably sounds pretty distorted based off of that.
So the town isn't entirely unwalled, Vapos. So where are you heading?
I'm just heading towards where I think the shouts of the vortex in the well were coming from.
Okay.
Much
so
like
you're
Breath, I don't know specifically where the well is.
Right. So you're kind of going you're running around this way.
Okay.
Because you saw an explosion from the western side of town. Oh, we got Bella.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can hear you and we can see you in Roll20. That is excellent. Awesome. All right. Welcome back. So I was just asking how everyone's characters was reacting to the explosion in the night. and you are just in time to tell us how Bella reacts.
I guess she kind of let a little sigh and then starts running toward it and pulls out her bow.
Okay. Your bow hums a tune, and the harp vibrates to it.
Huh.
As you are rolling off of the bale of hay with a blanket on it that serves as a bed in this place. Then you are downstairs and with the crowd of other people who are awakened, looking out of windows and running out of doors. As you guys go running down the street, you are treated to the rare sight of Mavra not wearing her armor. That's pretty rare. But more to the point, there are a lot of people out in the street shouting, pointing. Some of them are looking at you and your weapons in alarm, wondering what your deal is. And you will realize that you do not have easy access to the interior of the town from the Black Hoof pub. There is a gate here, and there are these 15-foot high walls that wall off spaces between buildings to kind of form a defensible area. And this tower of a pub is kind of somewhat outside the walls. So you can join the crowd that kind of goes running through the stables to get through the stableman's hall over here. And as you're doing that, you notice that anyone who... Well, you'll all notice that most of the humanoids, none of the humanoids, are carrying weapons like you guys are. Only goblins, of which there are many, at least 20% of the townsfolk, are carrying weapons and running to the town's defense, and they're yelling stuff sleepily, all different people in all different states of dress. The horses, of course, are freaking out, especially when goblins run by. Once you get into the streets, and I'm speaking to everyone but Vapos here, you are going to see goblin guards here and there, kind of directing people, trying to keep them from mobbing the area. And as you get closer, you're going to hear some sounds as of a battle. Vapos, you can from your vantage point outside the city, outside the town, as you come running up the Highland Road here, you are going to see some brilliant flashes as more explosions follow. And when you guys close in on the scene, you are going to find the chemists blown open. Bottles, shards of glass lying everywhere. And a battle is taking place. And it's going to take you a few rounds to get there. It's been about a minute or two, in fact, as you push through the crowds and observe all of this on your way. And you're going to discover, when you get there, several goblin captains whom you recognize from their large hats with impressive feathers, battling some familiarly invisible creatures. There are signs of ice on the grass and splattered across the walls, and there are these explosions that seemed to have come from the goblins. Perhaps the initial explosion is quite obviously something igniting in the chemist's office. You arrive on the scene, hearts pounding, looking around, freaking out, and find that the battle is nearly at an end. The goblin guards are finishing off the last assassin. And there's a well partly covered by one of the roofs here, and the vortex goes and swirls away into nothing. But not before a goblin with a large white-haired afro runs up and, giggling, drops a sparking bomb into the vortex. There's a distant rumble in the well. And the other goblins on the scene, the goblin guards, cheer. And the one who spoke to you as you came into the town comes up to you guys, his eyes red-rimmed. You can see he's taken some serious damage. He's got the marks, the bruises of a magic missile hit on his little green body. And his accoutrements are somewhat the worse for wear. But he points that rod at you guys and he says, "Adventurers! You join us at last. Behold, the strong defense of Fuerwald."
It's truly impressive.
It was a mighty display of strength.
Yeah, you guys did really good.
He salutes. "All in a night's work. For the Fuerwald Guard. Hohoy!" And the other goblins call back, "Hohoy!" Some of them jump up and down and shout, "For the Frog Talker!" And the goblin captain says, You and you go report to his smugness. You can report that the town is now safe. Made so by the Fuerwald Guard. Hohoy! In the name of the Frog Talker.
Is he talking to us? Telling us to go tell them?
No, he tells a couple of goblins, other guards, who run off toward the northern part of the town's circle. And he looks back over at you guys and he says, "Out and about at midnight. That will be a tax."
Oh, of course. And I pulled out some of the coppers that we had specially polished and hand them over.
He holds them up to the moonlight. Yes, yes. So you give him 6 shinies?
Yes, 6 shinies.
Okay. You actually have 6 copper?
I had exactly 6. Now
Wow.
I'm down to 0.
There you go. You're going to have to dig into your other stuff soon. He pockets the money in a specially labeled bag that says taxes on it. And doffs his cap. You will be hearing from another runner about other adventure opportunities for the Fuerwald Guard. In the name of his smugness. And he clicks his heels together, and they are dragging off the bodies of the now visible shrimps. And he says, "To the corner for analysis, yes." The several other goblins fall in behind him, and they kind of march the bodies off. Some humans nearby applaud, saying, "Well done, goblins!" And then they stand aside very deferentially.
this is kind of a goblin, like, dream just happening in this city. This is, like, what the dreams and hopes of all goblin kind just smashed into one city.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think that's literally true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bliss is already back at the hotel, in the inn, going back to sleep.
Bliss was just like, I'm done here, guys. I'm peacing out.
Guess we'll head back and go to sleep.
Yeah. Akiri makes a mental note about the frog talker, but she'll deal with that in the morning.
Saying that since we came up here.
Yeah, but she was tired.
With your sleep so interrupted, and after a long day of travel and adventure and near-death experiences, I'm afraid you are going to have to make Constitution saving throws by the next morning. Unless you are choosing to sleep through the next day.
I mean, Akiri wasn't planning up on getting early or anything.
So that's a
Yeah,
DC.
Papos definitely can't sleep after that.
Vapos, you can't sleep out after that at all.
Akiri's fine, never mind. Maven and Akiri are just like, screw this noise, we're sleeping, fam.
Vapos, you had a hard time sleeping partially because you returned to the eggs to find your ally standing over them very protectively and not letting you close. That great hulking
you spooked
beast.
him. How dare you spook him?
Yeah, Vapos will be trying very poorly to console the creature. Just like, I apologize, I'm not entirely sure if you speak or understand common, but I did not mean to spook you or to disturb the eggs. I was only trying to protect them as you do. And like he's constantly like looking around and trying to see if it's actually understanding him or anything.
It doesn't really respond. It does the kind of crooning sound over the eggs, but it's protectively standing between you and the eggs in the cart, and anything else that comes close.
Okay, in order, then I'm probably spending the rest of the night trying to like build back up some level of trust so that it doesn't freak out in the morning, and like I'm collecting, various bits of moss or twigs or things like that to help to add to the nesting that it's making for them.
Certainly explains your sleepless night. So you have one level of exhaustion.
Sounds good.
Okay. Folks, you are in town. You are awake. You had a close call where you almost got attacked again while very depleted. What would you like to do?
Akiri's gonna find the nearest goblin.
Well, that would probably be the proprietor of the Black Hoof Pub.
Cool. She's gonna find him and she's gonna ask, excuse me, could you point me in the direction of the frog talker? I need to talk to her about something. About frogs, actually. I have a frog I needed to talk to.
He looks over at you. He has these sadly lopsided giant handlebar mustache. And he strokes it. And he says, "You want to talk to the frog, Tucker?"
Yeah.
"She lives far from here. Our great, holy chief of all mud witches. Our local mud witch, Nogtaz Armpfrat, would know more. But if it's the frog talker you want, she is in the Thurbu quagmire to the south."
Okay. Thank you.
But as I say, our mud witch would know more.
Okie doke.
Can I offer you some breakfast beer?
Thank you, but I think I'm gonna pass.
Are you and your friend staying another night? He calls after you as you leave.
I don't think so, but I haven't asked yet.
It costs a shiny for reservations!
Okay.
So, Vapos, do you meet up with them?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So you're all together. You're at the Black Hoof Pub. You can have some breakfast beer. What would you guys like to do? The sounds of the city are going on around you. And as you are gathering, the humans are glancing at you guys. The goblins are checking you out. The goblins in the fancy riding gear are back, eating a hearty breakfast beer with a spoon.
By the way, did we need to distribute food, guys, or are we gonna pay for food here?
Well, I mean, color me intrigued about the breakfast beer. I suppose I'll try some.
Cool. It's a very thick, I mean, you would call it kind of a German beer. Very hoppy. Very hopsy. I don't know how you call it. The flavor is excellent, but it is almost thick enough that you could eat it with a spoon.
My
Vapos will have
compliment to
some
the
too.
brewer.
Cool. It comes in a big wooden mug that's carved with the visage of his smugness, Narzag the Smug.
Do they serve actual food here too at this inn?
Clearly they do.
Yes, we have human food, if you ate such a thing. He looks you up and down, pulling on his mustache.
Bliss is barely delicious and just says, "Yes, that will do. Is this enough?" And he'll produce. I don't have any poppers. I'll produce 1 silver.
He accepts the silver. Avoria, you help. Avorine, yes. The half elf comes by and says, "Well, we have simple, fair, but good. Will you take some breakfast bread and cheese?"
Yes, I think that will do just fine.
All right, they bring you some solid food. More solid than breakfast beer. Vapos and Bref, I'm going to need you to make, as you get about halfway through your large wooden mug, I'm going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
That's 12.
All right, well, you feel a bit buzzed, but it will pass. It's pretty alcoholic beer.
Okay.
Blitz is going to ask if for 2 more shinies, if he can have some food to take for the rest of it. Basically, he wants to make sure he has enough food for the whole day.
Yeah, you can buy some more pub food.
Just to save for later.
Yeah,
So he'll pay 2 more shinies. I'm assuming it's more than just one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll pay 2 more shinies, so basically 2 more meals worth of food.
Absolutely.
Just to forego having to use a ration for this day.
Very nice. That will inspire you, so refresh your inspiration.
Hey, thank you. I figured this is probably some of the cheapest food we're ever going to find.
You have been fed. You have drunk some liquids. What else would you like to do?
I'm a little concerned. I know we have lots of time, but we seem to keep getting sidetracked. Perhaps we should make haste towards our original destination.
I agree. Akiri wanted to speak to the frog talker, and I don't think that's a bad idea, but after that, I think we should beat a hasty retreat.
Afraid I've no mind for directions. Is that out of our way, or is that on the way to a destination?
Isn't the frog talker in town?
There's a mud witch in town who would know more, but
Frog talker herself is not here. She's further away. I think the guy said to the south.
yeah.
Okay, I got the mud witch and the frog talker mixed up.
My bet would be 10-10 for where she is, and that's a little bit out of her way. It's out of her way enough that I'm a little uncomfy about it.
I wouldn't. It's ultimately it's your business. I mean, are you comfortable taking that much of a detour, or would you prefer we head straight towards your home?
We can avoid we can afford the detour, if we want to, because we're getting really close. We only have we have 4 days to the tower, and if we wanted to stop at Akiri's home, 15 days, and to the tower, and we have a little less than a month to get there.
It just seems to me that we keep running into further delays. I don't know if we want to push our luck too much more.
No, I agree. I think focus is important.
Oh wait, or Akiri isn't here. Never mind.
She isn't? I was talking to her.
Oh, you were? I thought you were talking to Bref.
No, I was specifically speaking to Akira. It's your business. Like, what do you want to do?
Oh.
So you didn't come downstairs, or
No, she's trying to find the mud witch in town.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, never mind.
If you ask around, you are informed that the Mud Witch has taken up the herbalist's residence.
Okay.
While next door to his Smugness's residence, which is Ring Blossom House, formerly of Lady Fuervald. As you guys... Go ahead.
Oh no, keep going.
Okay. Is anyone going with Akiri?
I'd like to.
Okay, doke. You are more than welcome to.
The rest of you presumably are, cleaning yourselves up, eating some more breakfast, chatting with the local goblins and humanoids.
That sounds about right.
Akiri and Bella, please make a perception roll.
Oh boy. My favorite.
You did good. I did mediocre.
Akiri. As you guys are leaving, you spot that half-elf, who was somewhat helpful, showed you guys the old horse trough where you could wash up a little bit. As clean as you can get in that situation. You spot him, the bartender and server, and helped out a few different ways. He's pointing you out. He's pointing you and your friends out to a man-sized figure shrouded in a hood. A big green cloak with a hood.
Okay. Akiri is going to look at that, squint, and then she's gonna turn around. Is this as we're leaving, or?
This is as you guys are leaving, from a different vantage point in the room of the pub.
As they're leaving, she's gonna make a sending to Mavra.
Okay.
Never. Well, dang it. One second. Yeah, she's gonna make a sending to Mavra.
Okay.
And she's going to say, watch out. There's someone shady talking to the elf that helped us last night over by the bar. Just be careful.
We can find it.
Yeah,
Sorry, did you
I'm
hear?
gonna.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say thank you, and then I'm gonna quietly tell everyone else.
Cool.
Okay, so Mavra, you go from person to person, and what do you say?
I just tell what I maybe kind of gesture over a little bit, and just keep an eye out.
Okay. Does anyone else have I lost everyone's camera except M. Does anyone else have a reaction to that they want to do at this moment?
I'm clearly playing it super cool.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Bliss doesn't want to draw any extra attention right now.
Okay. Akiri and Bella, you guys make your way to the herbalist's residence. And you find it is quite a sight when you get there. Thick vines have grown up around this building that's kind of attached to this large complex of buildings. And you have there's a sign outside that's also grown over with vines, but everything seems kind of muddy and dirty. And this sign is actually like growing and dripping before your very eyes. As it says herbalist, and there's like a mortar and pestle painted on the sign from before, but it's like been smeared over with this kind of moving vines and mud.
Cool.
Finally.
There are these drying herbs and things that are hung over the door in every open space, in fact. And they kind of rattle as you guys push your way in. And a voice from within the crowded, fragrant shop says, "Who's there? Bob?
Oh.
Bob, see who's there." A short, round teenager with a kind of short cut hair steps into view. He's wearing what perhaps once was monk's robes, but they're a little too long for him and too small around the middle. So he's kind of popping out of the middle of these robes, and he looks up at you guys. He's short for. I mean, he's a teenager. Well, actually, I don't know how tall you guys are. Are your characters short? I've forgotten.
Akira is very short.
Akira is very short.
We
So
tend from the short side.
okay, he's about 5 feet tall.
Yeah, he's taller than Akira.
Okay, so he looks at you guys and he says, they are not threatening, and I think, I think that they are customers. That was my attempt to make the voice crack, which is what happens to him twice in one sentence. Very unfortunate. He says, "Would you like to see Nogtaz Armfrat now? Mudwitch of Fuervald?
Yes, we would, please.
Enter." And he kind of tries to turn to the side, but it doesn't help much. You know, he's blocking most of the very crowded with plants and herbs entryway. You have to shove past him to get in within. And you meet Nogtaz. She is kind of crazy looking. She's got this sort of hood with like a metal piece on the top where her hair is kind of forced out into this tall plume. Like a fountain of hair coming out of the top of this headpiece. She has what appear to be dwarf beards. Braided beards with little trinkets in them hung about her person, along with various carven jujus and charms and amulets.
Wow, I'm glad we didn't bring Mayfair.
She's holding a sickle that is in the seems to have this wild carven bone handle that's absolutely intricate. And she has one kind of normal yellowish goblin eye and one like bloated red eye that looks like it was stuck in, taken from somewhere else. She fixes you with both eyes and she says, "Oh, dearie me." She has those sharp goblin teeth. "You dearies, you need my help. You need the help of Nogtaz Armfrat. It's very numinous that you came today."
Okay.
Oh dear, oh dear. She starts patting you on the beak. She sweeps some stuff off the table. "You are here because you are marked? Yes? They are tracking you." And she points at you with this long, disgusting fingernail that looks like she uses the side of it to slice carrots.
Wait, who's tracking us?
Them. Yes. Yes.
They wouldn't happen to be vaguely shrimp-shaped, would they?
Yes! Good with cocktail sauce.
Akira's gonna turn to Bella. We should try that next time.
Yes, we know they've been tracking us for some time. This would have been our third encounter with them.
What?
Oh yeah, last night.
Ah, yes. I see. She pulls out she reaches into, like, there's just stuff everywhere. It's, like, hard to describe. You know, there's stuffed animals, and there's drying herbs, and there's living plants. There's also a number of cages with creatures inside. And right now she runs that long fingernail, rattling across them. You see there's one with, like, a pixie in it. There's one with, like, a little dragon-shaped creature in it. There's one with a couple of birds, sparrows. She pauses on that one, looks over at Akiri, moves on to the next cage. She selects a cage with a rat running around inside, and she grabs it by the tail and she pulls it out of the cage. She dangles it. Yes! Let us see! She pulls out the sickle.
Ew, I know where this is going.
She cuts the rat open and spreads it out on the table.
Yeah.
It's time for my horror spicy.
Here, what?
My horror spicy. I am a horospex.
Cool. Akiri has no idea what that means.
You know, it's someone who reads the entrails of animals in order to foresee the future.
Oh.
Or to see the truth of the now. Yes. Bob, fetch me the tweezers. He brings her some tweezers made of, it looks like to be made of her own fingernails, two previously grown long fingernails. She starts picking out the liver and the heart of the rat. She says, yes. I see. You have been marked by strong magic. There is one among you who spake a name that he should not have spoken. Oh, no! She tugs on her 6-inch long nose. No! This is dreadful.
Oh, yeah.
His smugness's vision of the world could all be undone by their great vision. I